I'm Reverend Badu Bulano. I want to teach on the attitudes that the rich have towards their job. I want to teach from the perspective of the Bible what jobs are meant for. Particularly, probably you are employed to work and you are a salary earner. At the end of the month, you look forward to your boss to collect your salaries. I want you to have a clear understanding of that on your path to riches. Are you a salary earner? You need this if you want to be rich. You need to have the right attitude towards salaries, especially salary earning jobs, so that you will be on your way to being financially free. Listen to this. You could hardly be very rich as a salary earner. You could hardly be very rich as a salary earner. Pastor, why did you say that? Let's start a little bit from Genesis chapter 2. Let's see what the Bible really gave us as the purpose of working. You know, sometimes if we don't understand the purpose of securing a job, we might miss the whole thing entirely. One day I was studying the Bible and I came to this question and I asked myself, come to think of it, when God told Adam to be working in the Garden of Eden, he didn't have salary in mind. So really, salary actually could not have been the primary purpose of securing a job. Look at Genesis chapter 2 verse 15. And the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. You notice that Adam was not put on salaries. So that wasn't actually the primary purpose of working, as far as God designed it. You need to have the right attitude towards jobs if you want to really be rich. You need to know what it means. Listen to this. No more than 3% will be very rich based on collecting salaries at the end of the month alone. Then what are salaries for? If I'm not expected to work as a salary earner throughout my life, listen to this. Salaries are meant for you to receive, at least at the end of the month, you know you are expecting so amount of money, from which you can keep some, you save some, you use some to maintain your daily livelihood, maintain your families, but save some for the purpose of investing that later on. You could hardly be financially free if you depend only on your salaries. Salaries are meant for you to be able to put aside some that you will later invest in money generating ventures that will buy you freedom. You also need people that will be rushing to office because of you. Do you know that if you are living in Nigeria in Lagos, you're living in the mainland, and you are rushing to the highland every early morning, every day? You know the reason why? You are running to the highland because of that rich man that wakes up around 8 a.m. and will first take coffee and chat and browse, then come out around 11 to find out how far you have done on his job, then goes back home again with his family. He has the time, and of course he asks you to do all the runs for him. You also need people to be running around for you like that. It doesn't come by wish. You need to define properly the purpose of securing jobs. It is to hand you financial freedom eventually. But if you depend only on salary and feel like that is what you will do throughout life, it will take a longer time if you eventually become rich. Having the right attitude towards job. If you want to be rich, you need to have the right attitude. Number one, understand that the job that you are doing is not designed to make you rich. You see, one of the reasons why the rich employ the poor is so that the poor will not disturb the rich. So that you will not injure them, you will not become dangerous. Because a desperate man is a dangerous man. So you earn enough salaries to keep you at bay. So that you can only be hungry, you will not be mad with it. So that everyone will be at peace, both the rich and the poor. That is why if you want to join the group of the rich, as you are earning your salaries, be putting some aside that you will invest in some ventures that will generate money for you without you necessarily being there. You see, the difference between the investment and the job you are doing now is this. You have to be at the office by probably 8 a.m., 7:30 a.m., close by 3:30 or 5 p.m. in what you are doing now. But in the things that you can invest in, you don't have to be there, and yet they will be generating money for you. That is the difference. And that should be your aim. Do not aim to work as a salary earner throughout life. It can be very pathetic and sometimes disturbing when you hear news of some of our old people who have served the nation, who have worked at federal secretariat, state secretariat. They are queuing up at the secretariat for their pension. They've come to collect their monthly pension money, and you know what happened? Once in a while, we do hear some of them falling down dead, as in dead. And when you ask yourself how much are they queuing up to collect, maybe 3,000 naira, roughly is it $300 or thereabouts? No, that doesn't make sense. Oh, Pastor, that can never happen to me now. If you don't change, if you don't observe, if you don't do right with your daily attitudes now, the same thing will happen. They probably thought the same, that won't happen to them also years ago. But they did not plan for the future. When you have the future planned out well, that is how to avoid such a pitfall. You need to know that about jobs. Number two, when it comes to working as a salary earner, or when it comes to jobs, listen to this. There is a way the rich sees jobs and the way the poor sees jobs. A rich man does not necessarily work for money. A rich man will rather work for experience than money. If you understand that point, you will become rich. There are some people you should be ready to serve for the purpose of learning from them. Experience cannot be bought with money. I read agricultural economics in the best university in Nigeria, University of Ibadan. But listen to this. When I graduated, I asked myself a sincere question. Am I competent to go into business and make money now? Sincerely, the answer was no. And listen to this. A semi-illiterate guy who learned from his brother or his brother-in-law real life experience where they are working. It might be somewhere in Lawrence in Lagos, where you learn how to sell fairly used materials, will be more financially prudent and be more business sensible than me that read economics. Why? There is a whole lot of difference between what you acquire in school and what you gain in experience. That is what the attitude you should have about jobs. Job is not just about money. There are some people you should be ready to serve, even if they are not going to pay you, but you are going to gain experience. Lawyers understand that in their profession. You see a law graduate that just coming out of university, ready to go and work in the chamber of an experienced lawyer. There was one day one of the most brilliant lawyers I've ever seen. Joke Aliu. She's one of the most brilliant lawyers I've ever seen. Very intelligent. And I asked her when she just left university. Oh, she was in your Joke Oyinsan. I asked her then, how much are they paying you? Oh, she said, Pastor, they are paying us 7,500 naira. I said, weekly? No, he said monthly. She said monthly. I said, why? She said, I'm among the best paid in my class. And not only that, she said the reason is because the chamber is one of the best in Lagos. It is an opportunity to learn. She then showed me that she wasn't working there for money. Oh, the day you get to the point that you do not work for money, you are getting to become financially free. Don't work necessarily for the money. There are other things that are involved. I was really thrilled by one very financially intelligent man. He said when he was planning for his future, he knew he will be involved in this and that, and he intended to be rich. So, for the purpose of acquiring the skill that he believes he will be needing, that will be necessary in about 20 years to that time, he plotted how he will learn, who he will work with. He worked with some organization to acquire boldness. He worked with some other organization to get organized. He said he knew that one day he will be in charge of people. He will need to have the skill to know how to lead men. So he worked for some time in the army, so that he will be a captain of some group of soldiers. He acquired all those skills. It wasn't after money. It was after the experience, the skill that will be necessary later. How wonderful will it be? I've seen some young ministers that wants to go into the ministry. There are some of you that you should just go and learn from some others, even if they are not going to pay you. Oh, that is one major difference between the rich and the poor. Their attitude towards job. Don't work for money necessarily. Work for experience. Is better than money. There are some people that you work for them, just put it in your CV. I work in this chamber, I work with this person for so. Anywhere you get to in that field, you will be respected. Do you understand the purpose of securing jobs? No, God did not ask Adam to work for salary. He didn't have salary in mind. That means that there are some things that are more important than salaries when it comes to securing a job. What do you work for? Where you are working now, do you see what you are doing now getting you closer to being financially free in your future? Do you see yourself acquiring things that money cannot buy? If all you are working for is the paycheck after the end of the month, you see, I've told you about some people that queue for their pension money after they have served the nation for a long time. You may not like what is happening to them, but you might be surprised that you are preparing yourself to also queue later on. But when you learn the purpose of working, when you learn the purpose of securing a job, it brings financial freedom. Learn that number one, when you work, you are working not for money but for the experience that you will acquire. Number two, realize that you cannot stay as a salary earner throughout life. That is not how to be rich. Number three, you realize that when you are working and you are earning salaries monthly, the purpose is for you to put some aside that you will use to invest in some other ventures that you will lead you quickly to your being financially free. I'm Reverend Badi Ogunlana.